All right, it's trying to set it up. All right. Well, according to Zoom, meeting is now streaming on Facebook. So whether I see that on the other screen or not, it looks like we are in fact live. Hopefully, we stay live because we've had some problems with that in the past. But hi, TMFA. Welcome to Technique Tuesday. Today is a very exciting day. As all of you know, I'm dialect coach Chris Lang. I usually come on Tuesdays and we chat about some accents. And we talk about, in particular, training for accents, why it's important, what are the skills that are required, what should you expect when you come to train, with an accent coach in these ways. And I have a special treat for you. As you know, my face is not the only face on this thing right now, is it? You see a guy next to me. He's not next to me, he's just in a screen next to me. But this is dialect coach Adam Michael Rose, a wonderful dialect coach and a colleague and a friend of mine. And Adam specializes in accent coaching for young actors, kids, teens, and young adults. And I get a lot of questions on TMFA about accent coaching from parents with young actors that they're trying to shepherd into this business. So I wanted to bring Adam on with me today and talk a little bit in this particular specific area about accent coaching for young actors. So Adam, welcome to Technique Tuesday here on TMFA. And just why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself really quickly to the actors here and everybody. They've seen you at least once before on another Facebook Live that we did a couple of months ago, but let's reintroduce ourselves here.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, Chris. And hello, TMFA. Lovely to be with you guys this afternoon. So as Chris mentioned, my name is Adam Michael Rose. I'm a dialect coach. I'm based in Los Angeles, and I'm originally from the East Coast, specifically the Baltimore, Washington, D.C. area. As Chris mentioned, I specialize in working with young actors of all ages. I coach at schools all over the country of various different ages and grades. I visit festivals and conferences, international, state festivals as a teaching artist, doing accent workshops. I also coach actors who are auditioning for various film and television projects all over the world. And I've been doing this for about 10 years now, I would say. And I'm also a certified teacher of Knight Thompson speech work.
Fantastic. Well, welcome, Adam. We're really fortunate to be able to have you here. Um, you know, because I get so many questions here on TMFA about, how do I get my kid into accents? What's the best thing to think about? Things of that nature. I think we're really lucky to have you here because you offer this really unique and valuable perspective on accent coaching for this particular let's call them demographic, if you will, of actors, because I think there are things that younger and developing artists need in terms of training, in terms of care as they develop, because they're not just developing as artists; they're still developing as human beings as well. So they require some really specific perspectives and techniques and ways of interacting with this work. So I think this is going to be really useful to have your perspectives. So before we dive into our conversation, so actors on TMFA, as you know, I love your questions. I want to open it up to any questions that you may have. Today we're coming to you via Zoom on Facebook Live. So some of your comments and questions that you have may be a tiny bit delayed. That being said, if you have questions, we want to hear them. Anything about accents, accent training, not just for kids, but for adults, for working actors, anything of that nature. If you want to get into accents, want to know how to even think about interacting with accents as an actor for the first time, we want to hear all of your questions. So I'm going to do my best to keep an eye on the comments section over on my other monitor here, and hopefully I will see your comments and questions as they come up. But please do put them in anytime. I'm going to be just having a conversation here with Adam about accent coaching, and we're going to chat, probably get lost because we hang out all the time, we talk together all the time, so we'll probably just end up talking a lot. But I'll keep an eye on the questions, so that if you do have something, please do pop it in there and we can address it as well. At the very end, I will be opening it up to a more kind of traditional Q&A, so anything you have there. you should feel free to pop in. So, with that being said, Adam, let's chat about accent coaching for young actors. Let's start at the beginning. I have some questions I'm going to throw at you.
Please bring them.
So, why, Adam, is it important for young actors in particular to make accent training a priority for themselves?
Really, really good question. So, a couple of things that are going on there. I'm going to say that the very first thing is we want to get ahead of the game. I think that in the adult world, accent experience and accent training is not always made a priority. So if we can get ahead of that at this stage of the game with young actors and just diving into the exciting world of accents, all the more better. So that's reason number one. The other reason why, to answer that question, is I always like to kind of look at learning an accent very similarly to the way that we learn another language.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, there's tons and a lot of us know this. There's a ton of research out there as to the benefits of learning another language and all of the wonderful things that go along with it. And wrapped up in that information, there's this idea in the thinking that the younger that we start learning another language, the better off we are. So I like to say that the same thing holds true for accents.
Okay, so the earlier we get in on the game, the better we're going to be because maybe we're more receptive to it. Do you think when we're younger? Is that what you find with younger actors?
Yeah, and I think, Chris, I think that is a genius word. I think we're more receptive. It's not that by any stretch of the imagination that people beyond a certain age are incapable of learning other accents and languages,
Mm-hmm.
but I think exactly like what you just said, the receptiveness seems to be a little bit more willing and open the younger that we are.
Why do you think that is? Because we're younger. Why do we have the ability to be more receptive, do you think?
So many different things. You can start with the idea of imagination. Our imaginations seem to be a little bit more open and ready to just play and just kind of accept things at younger ages. And then, of course, as we all know, the older that we get, we still certainly have our imaginations, but we have to unlock them a little bit, or we have to dig a little bit deeper to find them.
So I love that you brought this up. I wasn't planning on asking you this question, but I'm just going to throw this one at you. So what is the most important thing about imagination and accents? Like, why is imagination such a powerful tool for accent learning? I often tell my actors at the beginning of an accent skills workshop that he's giving me a lot of technique, but ultimately accent acquisition is an act of your imagination. So I'm interested to know your perspective on this because I'm a firm believer that imagination unlocks a whole bunch of stuff for us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. So I always love to say that learning a brand new accent, it's not just the sound changes or the substitutions that I think that we tend to really focus on sometimes. It's learning a brand new accent is it's another way of communication. It's another way of expressing how cultures talk and just communicate themselves. So connecting that back into imagination, can we start to imagine what it's like to take a step into this brand new world culturally, background wise, identity wise? I know that's a word that you absolutely love. Can we start to work with our imaginations in that world and open up this whole brand new place that we're going to with what's coming out of our mouth?
So as younger actors, kids, teens, young adults have maybe more easy access to that imaginative stuff, more willingness, because it's, I remember as a kid, my imagination was like all over the place, and it was a daydreamer and these kinds of things. So I could see how that would be really useful in terms of accents, just having that really available right off the bat as I approach the work, right?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and it also, I think it ties it back into this idea that accent work is 100% connected to acting work. They're not mutually exclusive, and
shocking news, right?
That's exactly, yeah. So the more opportunities that we can provide for ourselves to incorporate our imagination and our These wonderful feelings that fuel our passion as actors. Oh,
Yeah, everything opens up now, and we can build a habit of that, I believe, early on. Just like you said, let's get ahead of the game. If we can build those habits in when we're young, then by the time we have grown, matured into the business, into the profession, that's a part of our process that's ingrained. We don't have to work so hard to unlock our, the stuff inside us that makes us kind of a unique artist, the voice
we
that we
are
have to speak from,
we
right?
are establishing really great habits as early as possible that are going to serve us later on down the road, and just we're going to be able to keep using and using. Yeah.
Rock and roll. I love this. Okay. Second question that I have, really now the 10th or something. Okay. What are the top three things, if you could narrow it down to three, we'll try, that parents should know about getting their young actor into accent training? Top three things that are like, mom and dad, here's what you should know about getting your kid into accent training.
Excellent question again. Let's start with this idea of flexibility.
Mhm.
Um, as just like no different from approaching learning anything else, any other brand new skill, we want to have some flexibility with our abilities to essentially pick it up.
Mm.
We're all different people, and we all learn at different paces, and we're all on different journeys with the way that we learn and what works best for us. So having approaching learning these skills with flexibility in mind, I think that that's really, really a great place to start. Now, that, of course, is not counting the situation that pops up very, very often if you have an audition or if you have a project that is right around the corner and a deadline is involved. Then it's a whole different ballgame. But if we are approaching this from the standpoint of learning a brand new accent, which is always a great, great, great idea, yeah, having a little bit of flexibility in mind as we begin that process. So I would say that's number one.
Mm-hmm. So flexibility in terms of our expectations, as well as a flexibility within the work too, right?
Exactly. Yeah, flexibility of our expectations. Yeah, exactly. 100%. That's a great way of putting it. Yep.
Awesome. So what's number two? What's thing two? I cut you off when you were about to go on to thing two that mom and dad should know about getting there.
Totally fine. Totally fine. Again, looking at this pretty much no differently than you would as you dive into any other skill that you are teaching yourself or that you're trying to learn for the first time. Um, there needs to be some dedication involved. This is the learning a brand new accent is not something that can be done overnight by any means, and there's going to be some time that needs to kind of help grow these skills and the concepts that we're going to be working on and learning and everything like that. And what better way to help the young actor to embrace these new skills, but with a little bit of dedication to just practicing in between our lessons. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So because again, we build a habit early on in life of how we want to approach our work, and that dedication, which is such a part of our professional careers, that technique that we build to sustain us over time, right? That's a huge part of this. So even starting early in this, it does require dedication, and I'm fond of saying like consistency. That real
Ooh,
consistent kind of work that you can just build over time. We don't expect you to get there on day one or day 10, but if we build consistently, I'm a huge Lego builder, and I have a nephew who's way into Lego, so it's on my mind. But like, this is how you build a giant Lego castle. You start with one Lego, and then you eventually add enough Legos to have a castle. We don't build the castle on day one, right?
not at all. Not at all. That's
Um,
100%. And you know what? As that's a really good point. That's a great analogy too. I love the idea. I love images, and I love that. That's fantastic. But uh, think about it this way: that the skills that you develop in approaching a brand new accent, they're going to be able to serve you when you start to approach other accents
ah,
as you keep going forward down your accent journey, because there's going to be more than one accent out there that I guarantee that you're going to want to work on, or that you're gonna need to have in your arsenal at some point.
cool. Yeah, I like that too. Yeah, the first accent makes the next one easier, makes the next one easier, makes the next one easier, etc. Till eventually, like my goal for all my actors, I want you guys to be accent actors, like powerhouse accent actors who are masters of accent, not just of a couple accents, but like all the accents. That's really what I'm after,
To take
right?
over the world.
Yeah, take over the world. What's thing number 3? And then, oh, I see we have a question. So, what's thing number 3 that mom and dad should know? And then Lindsay Slay. Hi, Lindsay. Thanks for joining us. I'll get to your question in just a sec.
Excellent. Yeah. Thing number 3. I'm gonna say that it does help to have some direction in terms of what accent would best suit the young actor.
Okay.
Couple of different ways to go in this idea right here. The first I would like to say is, and I'm sure that you've talked about this before, how it's very similar to the way that we approach what's an accent for me, what's a right accent for me in the adult world, in so much as that what are the stories that are being told right now, what's happening in the world, and what are the movies, what are the television shows, what's the theater that is coming out that is going to be entertaining us or informing us, using these accents. So that's number one. Have a little bit of knowledge of what's going on, what's casting, what is being talked about, and
So that we
anything
can
like that.
target the accents that are in those areas, right?
Yeah, exactly. Also, what has your young actor been called in for before? Going down that path. Have they been called in for accents in the past? How are they seen? What are they right for? What roles are they right for? So that's always where you want to approach. What's a good accent for me? In addition to that, in the educational theater world, when it comes to musical theater and when it comes to plays, you're going to see certain accents popping up all the time, very, very commonly. And my absolute favorite, also coincidentally, the very first accent I ever taught myself way, way, way back in the day, was Standard British or received pronunciation.
Great. Yeah. And this is so interesting because the question that we popped up is dovetails really perfectly into this. All right. In terms of how do I decide what accent to is first, and where do I like what do I need to know in terms of that? Obviously, there's conversations to be had with an accent coach who can help you. Like both Adam and I, we could, you come to us, say, what should I learn? We can sit with you and go through some career trajectory stuff and think this is maybe where we want to look. But your agent, your manager, also very good to be able to help you with this. And in fact, your entire team, because for us as accent coaches, you want to think of us on your team just like you would your agent or manager.
Yeah.
And so we want to be a part of that sort of conversation to make sure you can be as successful as possible. But here's the question that came up. Lindsay Slay has asked, what accent do you suggest starting with first?
Love that question. I absolutely love that question. So again, great question, Lindsay. Yeah, unless there's a specific project, a specific something that is calling the young actor for in that direction of this very specific accent, I always like to go with Standard British. The reasons for that, number one, it's one of the most commonly used accents out there in the young actor world and in the adult world too, if I'm not mistaken. So if this is one of those accents, this is an accent for life. And the sooner that we can start to approach it, I think the better off we are. A couple of other reasons why I absolutely love this accent is because it's, and again, I'm sure you've talked about this before, but this is an accent that is based in English. So we don't have to go to an extra level of learning the various sounds of another language. It just kind of makes it a little bit easier. And then also, we're exposed to this. There's a lot of exposure to this accent and to this culture in this country, going back to tying into our imagination. So I think that a lot of the groundwork for diving into this accent is already there.
Yeah, I would also say that that sort of Standard British received pronunciation. That's a great place to start. If for no other reason than I like you have a lot of access to it here.
Yeah.
And it is likely that you're going to be asked to use it in your career. It is almost a foregone conclusion. At some point, you're going to get an audition for this thing. Whether it's a play or a film or a TV show or something like that. of course, depending on your type and your branding and your look and things of that nature. It's more or
Right.
less likely. But it's interesting, Lindsay. I would also suggest that you think about learning about your own accent. And Adam, you coined this term that I'm using all the time now, your preferred accent, right? Because accent's a thing we choose at the end of the day, whether subliminally, subconsciously, mostly, we do choose it. Indeed. So I would suggest that learn about your own accent. That's actually a really useful thing to do, because then we know where we're starting from. Because every accent you learn is going to be from that starting place. And if we know where we're starting from, it's much easier to plan the journey. The drive is very different to New York if we're starting in Seattle versus Miami, right?
Another amazing metaphor right there. Another amazing, yeah, that was great. Yeah, and you know what? It's kind of like diving into accent coaching and accent classes with a coach. It's kind of like a double whammy, I want to say, in so much as that you are embarking on this brand new journey into this whole brand new world of a new accent, but you're also pretty much going to be learning about your own preferred accent in the process. I guarantee you're going to be walking, you or your young actor, you're going to be walking away with more information about the way that you talk every single day than you did at the beginning of the process.
And I love that you use the term double whammy. Like if we had a band, that would be our name, the double whammy. And I don't know what kind of music we'd play. Maybe it'd be new wave, pop synth stuff, synth pop, all that. Double whammy. That sounds great. I like it.
We'll take it on the road. Yeah.
So Lindsay has a couple other questions, or just one more, it looks like. And Lindsay, thank you so much for asking these questions. We love to help out actors out in this way. So Lindsay asks, can I start taking classes with you even if I'm not in the same state as you? Yes.
That is the beauty of technology right now. Yeah, yeah. Lindsay, I definitely, as a number of my other colleagues, Chris included in this, we coach all over the world without leaving the comfort of our own homes. So
Very
yes,
comfortable offices, right?
yeah, yes.
And we usually I've been using Zoom pretty well exclusively for almost 6 years. I don't know about you, Adam. What is Zoom your preferred platform as well?
Yes, Zoom is definitely this is 100% my preferred platform. I'm a little late to the Zoom train. I've been using it now for the last 2, maybe 3 years.
Okay.
But I definitely, yeah, this is exactly it.
Well, yeah, and Lindsay, this gives us, like, Zoom is great for a number of reasons. I find we get better audio and video quality than on Skype or other similar platforms, but also it's easier for us to, and Adam, you can speak to this from your own perspective as well, but I love that I can record my sessions for my clients. I find that when I give you a recording of all the work that we've done together, every exercise we do, everything we've looked at together, all the materials that I have, I put that in a Dropbox and give to you. To work with, you actually are able to, in between our sessions, do a lot more kind of work and advance more quickly, because you can actually practice with me and not just kind of on your own, hoping that you're kind of sort of maybe practicing the thing you think you remember from our session 2 days ago. You actually can watch it and practice with me. So I love that. I find my clients get a lot bigger benefit out of that. What do you think, Adam?
Same thing, same exact thing. Yeah. My clients, they love being able to go back to their downloaded copies of our lessons, because yeah, inevitably there might be something that they missed at the time or that they weren't. Yeah, so many different reasons. But I absolutely make recordings of all my lessons for that reason right there, so that you or your young actor will have access to it for however long you'd like in the future, and you can always refer back to it.
Wonderful. And Lindsay has another question. Lindsay, thank you. Yeah, this is great. We're having such a fun time here. So Lindsay asks, where can I sign up for classes? Adam, you go first and then I'll answer.
Excellent, excellent. So yeah, so I have actually a couple of classes coming up that I'll talk a little bit more about.
Yeah, we'll tease all our classes at the very end.
Yeah, but essentially,
suspense, right?
Yeah, and we'll put up the information. But yeah, that's an excellent question. I do have a couple of classes dedicated specifically for young actors, teen actors, coming up in very specific accents, and I will be more than happy to share all of that information as we keep going forward.
Yeah. So in terms of signing up, like, our websites are probably the best things to do. We're going to go ahead and pop in our both our websites in the comments here. For me, it's dialectcoachchrislang.com. Adam, yours is
amraccents.com.
amraccents.com.
Adam Michael Rose, AMR.
Oh, I get it. Yeah. Okay. Now I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So there we go. In terms of where you can sign up, I have a bunch of on my booking tab. You'll see there's a lot of options there if you want workshops, private sessions, things of that. Adam, you said you've got some classes coming up, so I would encourage you guys to just take a look and see what fits. Now, you got two accent coaches sitting in front of you, and depending on who you are, you're going to click with an accent coach in a different way. I don't want to take for granted that I'm the perfect accent coach for everybody. And Adam, I feel you're probably in that same boat. So we're going to encourage you, like, if you have multiple options, check out some multiple options, see who you click with the most. And, because I've definitely referred clients to Adam, who I didn't click with, and he did, those sorts of things. So, as you're looking around for what classes you want to sign up for, definitely look around and make sure that you're getting the right fit for you, because this is training you want to take with you long term, and that's going to be pretty important. So let's see. We have Melissa Sharon Harris is here, asked the question. And yeah, so this dovetails into what we were just talking about. How can we access your classes and how much are the sessions? So let me talk about like pricing stuff. Every accent coach is a little bit different. And I know that Adam and we both belong to a group of coaches who have pledged to offer a sliding scale for our work. That we both have a regular hourly rate that we will use. For instance, when we coach you on set in your major motion pictures or TV show or something like that, and ultimately we like to stick with that regular hourly rate, but we do have a sliding scale that we both offer for working actors who need a little more flexibility based on needs of career and things like that. There's a lot of ebb and flow and uncertainty built into this business for actors, so we both like to be flexible to those things. And to find out more about that, it's actually probably best to have a quick phone conversation with either one of us so we can address your specific needs and the training, because every actor is going to be different. Every actor is going to have a different process. And so once we understand like where you're coming from, what you're looking to accomplish, your goals and things like that, it's much easier for us to say, okay, this is what we might be looking at time wise, this is what we might be looking at in these other ways, and then we can help you assess the budgetary concerns, because ultimately logistically we want to make sure we're being realistic about those things with you.
That's always one of the very first places that I like to start with anybody that I'm speaking to for the very first time. Excuse me. That I want to get as much information as possible. Exactly what Chris, like what you just said. What's coming up for you? Is there a deadline involved? What are we dealing with? What are we looking at? All of that information. The more information that you can provide your dialect coach, it makes everybody's job so much easier moving forward. If I'm not mistaken.
No, you're 100% right on that one. Yeah. The more information we have to work with, the more we can tailor the process specifically to you, the actor in front of us. Every one of our actors is different. And our goal, because the breadth of our training in terms of both linguistics and acting and art and storytelling, we want to make sure we're working with the actor in front of us in the most specific way possible. So this work is going to click with you in the most specific way possible. We're not here to enforce a method of training on you. We're here to make sure that whatever method of training we want to use is the best avenue for you. And so the more information we have, the more we can structure that process and be budget friendly for you. Because ultimately, when you have a network show, we're going to be with you on set. And we'll be, you'll be paying the regular hourly rate, but we also want to be with you until that happens. So we want to be flexible for those things. And would you believe we have another question, Adam? All right. Lindsay, again. Lindsay, you're on fire today.
Lindsay's our superstar today.
Yeah, Lindsay's our superstar. Thanks, Lindsay. So Lindsay wants to know, are there any tongue twisters or warm-ups that we recommend? Big kind of question, right? And yeah, let me go first on this one. All right.
Go for it.
Then I'll toss it over to you, Adam. So absolutely there are tongue twisters that I can recommend, and absolutely there are warm-ups that I recommend. That being said, if I just threw out a tip or a trick or something to you right now, it's not going to be that useful to you, because you will not have the perspectives that you need to really integrate it into your acting technique and your process in the way it's going to be the most useful for you. And to quote our wonderful colleague Pamela Vanderway from dialectcoaches.com and Dialect Coaches Worldwide, no professional's career was ever built on tips and tricks. So I want you guys to think in that vein. What is a way for me to build solid technique over time that's going to be useful for a long time. That's the biggest thing I want you guys to think of. So yeah, of course there's warm-ups and things. And if you work with me, I actually help you build a warm-up for yourself through our accent work that you can warm up into accent work or use it for, your other voice work if you're just speaking in your own preferred accent, things like that. What do you think, Adam? What's your perspective on tongue twisters and warm-ups and things like that?
Yeah, oh, definitely, definitely the warm-ups for sure. And tongue twisters are great. Tongue twisters are absolutely fantastic. What I would like to kind of go in the direction of is, especially when you're looking at a brand new accent, what you're taking a look at is a whole series of sounds that some might be familiar to you based on your preferred accent, and then others might not be familiar to you. So I would say let's start there. As you're exploring these sounds and this accent with your dialect coach, what are the ones that are a little bit trickier? And those are the ones that we're going to want to find exercises, possibly warm-ups, possibly tongue twisters, to work the muscles that are involved in producing those brand new sounds.
Wonderful. Okay, so like super useful stuff, right? Super useful in the right context. Got to know
Yes.
why you're using it. You've got to know
Yes.
what it's for so it can be the most useful to you possible, right?
Right.
All right. Melissa Sharon Harris says, I appreciate this so much. Thank you, Melissa Sharon
Thank you,
Harris.
Melissa.
So kind of you to say. We really love this. We love doing this kind of Q&A and opening up because we're passionate about helping actors, right?
And
that,
geeking out the speech things.
and like when two accent coaches get together, we just geek out on speech stuff hardcore. So get prepared, you guys. It's only going to get more exciting. All right, couple other questions for Adam that I have. Adam, in your experience, is there an age that's most appropriate to start accent training, or is there too young, or what is there a right age and there's not a wrong age, I assume, but maybe I'll just toss it to you here. What's the best age for a young actor to maybe think about accent training?
Yeah, so I speaking based on my own experience, I have taught accent classes for 5-year-olds before, which is actually it's an amazing age to start playing around with various components and elements of a whole new accent. It really, really is. I would say that's probably a little bit on the younger side. And I would say regularly I work with actors anywhere from 8 all the way up through high school.
Okay.
That's kind of the area that's really amazingly fitted for this type of work.
What kind of training do you usually recommend then? Is there something that's better for different age groups? For instance, group classes versus private sessions. What do you usually recommend to parents who are looking for their young actors' accent training?
Yeah, so there are benefits to both, to be honest with you, and it really, again, going back to that idea of what's best going to serve your young actor, you and your young actor. If it's a project, if it's an audition that is right around the corner and time is we don't have that much of, which happens frequently. If that's the case, private coaching sessions are going to be the most valuable. It's one-on-one. We can really dive into the material at hand, and we can support and try to make you feel as comfortable and ready to go and confident as possible.
Mm-hmm.
If time is a little bit more on our side, I would say either. I would say private coaching or group classes. Amazing things come out of group classes. I've seen it plenty of times where if you're not necessarily in the hot seat in the moment where you are where you're having to do anything, so to speak, there's always something to be gained from watching and observing other people. And with my
Seeing
group
the
class,
work through somebody else's challenges or successes, right?
yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. And you can kind of silently observe from, or actively but quietly observe from the side. Yeah, there's so many different ways to approach just learning through other people that are with you, because you might see something differently that you wouldn't have when it was your turn, if that makes sense.
Oh,
So
for sure. Yeah.
yeah.
Especially when you're not on the hot seat, so to speak, when you can sort of okay, I can breathe and just kind of get some perspective on it. Those are always really important moments for us as artists to sort of take a second where we can breathe and step back and see maybe a little more objectively than when we're inside the process.
Another great word. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my group classes, I try to keep them as small as possible so
I do
that
too. Yeah. Like
yeah,
six, I think I don't like anything more than 6 or 7 usually.
exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly it. Yeah, and we want to find that perfect area of there will be opportunities to learn through other people, but then also you're gonna have some opportunity
Mhm.
to explore and dive into things and just go to town.
Awesome. I love this stuff. We have another question, if you can believe it.
Yes.
Faizan Uzma, thank you for joining us. Love to see you here. 2 questions just came in. All right, so we'll tackle these questions here. So Faizan asked, and Faizan, never apologize for asking a question, even if it's been asked before. Never ever. No, these are all good things to keep bringing up, and well worth repeating for sure, even if somebody has asked that question before. But nobody has asked this today. So congratulations, Faizan. So how would one identify their accent, as we mentioned? How would one identify their preferred accent? I'll take a stab and then I'll toss the ball to you, Adam.
Please.
Part of your training with me is going to be identifying your preferred accent, because that accent is the accent that we approach every other accent from. And so for me, long term with you as a client, we would really want to know this place well. We want to know all about it so that every accent we ever wanted to learn over the next 25 or 30 years in your career, we have this idea of what this preferred accent is. So without taking, like, because it would probably take a good, for me at least, I want to spend a good hour or more with you just trying to know this accent and then dig a little deeper and dig a little deeper over subsequent sessions. So we can't dive into that today here. But what I will say with you for you is that when you come and work with me, that's one of the things that we will spend our initial time on, is making sure we know your accent. So again, we know how to get from there to somewhere else. This is interesting because, Adam, I also want to tease your brain with this. When somebody says, how do I know my preferred accent? How would you counsel an actor looking at accent training? Maybe not just a young actor, but any actor. What's the best way maybe to start being aware of how we talk? Is there a way? Is there something that we can do?
To become aware of how you talk? Well, I would say you're going to want to start by digging into your background, um, tying it back into something that I love the concept that I've actually taken from you, Chris, identity. This goes so far in other accents and in your accent. So just doing a little bit of a dig or a dive into what has been your life experience, where have you come from, who have been the people around you, and there are a whole bunch of other things to explore. But going in that direction, that's an amazing place to start, I think.
Yeah, that's usually where I'll start with my clients. Let's talk about your past. Where do you come from? Because
Yeah.
that past history, you guys, shapes your entire life experience, right? That life experience creates how you talk, creates how you interact with the world, how you present and identify yourself as yourself, and your social groups and all those things. That whole past history creates the way you talk. So knowing that past history and where it has influenced how you speak, I think is so important. So important. You can't overlook it. In fact, if you overlook it, you're missing a huge piece of information for your acting.
I have an idea that I think it would be a fantastic starting place.
Mm.
Um, start. I think one of the very first questions for anybody of any actor of any age is can you give yourself a little bit of reflection, and can you start with the question of how often do I pay attention to the sounds that are coming out of my own mouth? Are you aware of how often you hear what you yourself are saying? Start there, right?
Oh yeah. Can I even pay attention to the sounds coming out of my face?
Yeah.
Is that possible? And if I can, what will I see? What can I notice? Could I even describe them? Is that possible? That's a cool challenge, right?
Because I don't think it's how often do we do that? How often do we pay attention to how we are talking or the sounds that are coming out of our mouth?
Well, Adam, and this is a little inside baseball TMFA, but Adam, you and I, we did a video that you all can see at Dialect Coaches Worldwide for Actors, the Facebook group. Please come and join us over there. It's like TMFA, but specifically accent focused for accent coaches with actors. But we did a video with a couple of our colleagues, um, discovering how we pronounce different brand names in our own preferred accents. Four of us are Americans with general American accents. One of us is British with kind of an RP style accent. And it was really interesting to be surprised by, oh my God, that is how I say that, right? Even accent coaches were like, we don't pay that much attention, as much as we should probably, to the ways that we speak all the time throughout the day. So this is for us to sort of help you guys do this as well. We want to go through this process with you in a way and live inside it so that we can help guide you through it in a way. We're your mentors in this process in a way, right? um okay, couple other questions. First thing, Clara or Clara, apologize if it's one way or the other, but Clara, I'm going to say Clara Bisbal, welcome Clara, glad to have you with us, asked, hi, I'm from Argentina. I speak fluent English, but you can notice that it is not my mother tongue. Have you ever worked with somebody with a similar case? Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Adam?
Yes. Yeah. So I always want to start by saying that we love all accents. It doesn't
Who
matter.
has accents, Adam?
Everybody,
Everybody.
everybody, we all have an accent. Um, yeah. And you know what, the more that we can, I think, make or allow ourselves to go down that direction of that just there, that we all speak with accents rather than certain areas as not having an accent, I think that's going to then start to open up doors for you, as the person who is, for you yourself, and then also for you as you are listening to other people. That's going to start to open up doors and your ability to just start to pay attention to what you hear from everybody and approaching it from that place of everybody's got accents, everybody's got different sounds.
There's no like judgment of self for having an accent. How dare you have an accent? Everyone's got an accent. Right?
We all, yeah, exactly. And when you really start to dive into the way that other people speak and listen, and when you're listening to them, you're gonna hear things coming out of everybody, because that's just the nature of accents, and that's the nature of how speech works.
Oh, for sure. And Clara, I would say that as accent coaches, we work with clients from all over the world with all sorts of different backgrounds. So we both have clients who are native English speakers from America, from Canada, from England. We have native English speakers from South Africa. We have also multiple language speakers from, I have clients right now from Bolivia and Peru and South Africa and Hong Kong and all over the world. So, a good accent coach, good professional accent coach should have the linguistic knowledge to be able to say, your mother tongue is not English, but we can understand your mother tongue well enough to understand how it's influenced your English. So that this is why you're speaking the way you're speaking from your perspective. And then we can take that knowledge and help us target any new accent that we want to acquire based off of that. Because we don't want you to lose your accent, Clara. We don't. We want you to keep it because we love your accent. We love it. We want to keep it. And for you as an actor, you're going to use it in your career. You will absolutely be cast using your preferred accent. It's a marketable skill. We want you to make money with it. And I'm sure you do too. So we've absolutely worked with people from your background and your kinds of situations. So never ever let that deter you if English is not your mother tongue, because this is, we can learn these skills just like anything else. All right. So come join us in Accent Land. Lindsay's back. Lindsay, okay. We told Lindsay and everyone out there that we need to get better at kind of listening to ourselves in a way. Lindsay says, I hate hearing myself. I need to get better at it. I feel you, Lindsay. 100%. I absolutely hear you. There's a really cool reason why we don't like listening to ourselves. Usually because the voice that we hear when we speak is the voice that's bouncing around the inside of your head. And the voice that everybody else hears when you speak is the voice after it's left your body and bounced around the room and hit my body. And I get to hear your voice. So it really is about learning to recognize both of those voices and embrace them and accept them because they're your voices. And you, Lindsay, as an artist in this world, have something to say. You have a voice and it deserves to be honored and heard and celebrated. And so part of one of my passions in this work is to help people find that voice and to know it and to love it and to hug it tight and to use it, because it's one of your biggest assets, your voice, especially if you can get to know it really well and get used to hearing it and get used to all its little nuances and foibles and things like that. It's what makes you, this is gonna, I don't know, I don't want to sound pandering, but it's what makes you kind of special and unique as an artist, is you have that voice and nobody else does.
And I would like to also kind of put on to the end of that by you giving yourself the ability to start to listen to your voice more and more and more, you're gonna create more opportunities for yourself to explore and experience new skills and techniques that your voice can shine in, I think.
Oh, absolutely. I love that. Like ways to highlight the way your voice can be heard, the most effectively and be celebrated the best.
Yeah.
I really like that idea. So I have a bunch of other questions I was going to ask Adam, but we're running out of time right now. It's been about 40 minutes or more, and I have a workshop to go teach here in just a little bit, and Adam has to go coach. So let's do this. We're going to put a pin in this conversation, TMFA, and I'm going to bring Adam back. So I don't know when that's going to happen. We have to look at our schedules, but I love that everybody here is so engaged and wanting to increase their facility with technique and professionalism. And we're passionate about that as well. So I'll bring Adam back once we get our schedules lined up, maybe in the next month, and we'll continue this conversation. So any of you out there who are parents of young actors or young actors yourself, I want to invite you to stay in contact with us. We have Clara asked what was the name of the Facebook group. This is one of the best ways to stay in contact with us. Wide for actors. I'm going to tag this in the comments so you guys can click on that and come join us over there. It's like TMFA, but very accent specific. So myself, Adam, we have our other colleagues, accent coach Jack Wallace, dialect coach Eliza Simpson, and Pamela Vanderway from Dialect Coaches Worldwide and dialectcoaches.com. We all inhabit that space, and we are passionate about making sure that you guys get the best support possible accent-wise to be successful in this business. So Dialect Coaches Worldwide for actors. I'll tag it in the comments, but you can go over there and check us out. The other ways to stay in contact with us are going to be through our websites. For me, dialectcoachchrislang.com. For Adam, amraccents.com.
www.amraccents.com. Yes.
Wonderful. So that's the best way to get in touch with us. I have a very friendly chat bot that you'll have a conversation with on my site. You can leave your info and, we can schedule time to chat if you want. I invite you, reach out to us both if you're at all looking for accent training or curious about this or want to level your game up in this business in terms of becoming an accent actor, because it's a competitive edge. More accents equal more casting opportunities. So if you want that competitive edge and want more casting opportunities, we're here to help. So I invite you to reach out to both of us. Find us at the Facebook group. Find us on our web pages. Adam, you mentioned you had a couple classes coming up. Do you want to pitch those real quick?
I do. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, I've got 2 classes starting in July, both for teen actors. One is going to be standard British accents, and then the other one is going to be New York City. They're both multi-week courses. If you go to my website.
How long are they, Adam?
4 weeks.
4 weeks.
4 weeks. Cool. Yep. So if you go to my website, it's www.amraccents.com/teen accent studio, all spelled out. You can get all the information there.
Wonderful. And if you go to my website and you click on the booking tab, book a session, you're going to see that I have a bunch of workshops coming up. I have 2, count them, 2 TMFA beginning accent skills workshops. Just to repeat, beginning accent skills. These are the skills that you need for every accent you will ever encounter. So if you want to master accents, you need to master the skills to do accents. Like if we want to play tennis, you got to know how to serve and to hit ground strokes and run around the court and strategize and all of that. Same thing for accents. If you want to do accents, you need to have some skills in place for that. So I have 2 of them starting, one on July 2nd, one on July 7th. Limited space in each. So if you're interested, please do check it out really quickly. I also then have an intermediate for those of you who've been in the beginning skills. I have an intermediate coming up as well in the middle of July, and an advanced level for those of you who finished that in August. I also have 4 accent specific workshops that you can take. I have a standard British, receive pronunciation. I have a general American accent workshop. I have a Scottish accent workshop and an Appalachian accent. So the American South specifically will focus on Eastern Tennessee, Southeastern Tennessee, that kind of Appalachian accent. So I want to invite you guys, if you're interested in any of those, to join. On my site, if you take a look, use the coupon code social distance, all one word, all caps, and you'll get a discount here from TMFA. If you want to sign up for those, you can also buy a bundle. You can take an accent workshop and a beginning skills workshop together if you would like. So those are also available for you. So check us out on the website. It's a lot of information. I just threw at you guys, but check out our websites, sit with the information. Now is the time to study accents before you need them in auditions, because you don't want to be in a position where your agent says, hey, you've got this thing for Netflix in 2 days and you have to be Swedish. And you go, oh, I've never done a Swedish accent. Never heard a Swedish accent. What do I do? You want to be in a position where that doesn't freak you out. That's why accent skills are important. And that's why having an accent coach on your team, whether it's me or Adam, also very important. So time to study accents is right now, before the industry is really back into swing, which is about ready to get back. We feel it, feel the wheels are turning. The wheels are turning. Things are starting to get, auditions are happening again. So the time to hop on it would be now if you can. So my friends, thank you so much for joining us. Adam, for real, thank you for coming on TMFA with me.
Thank you so much for having me and inviting me. This is great. This is
Of
great.
course, we'll have you back real soon. A big shout out to Wendy. Wendy, thank you so much for asking us to come on and help your actors with accents. We love this forum and we're happy to support everybody here. So thanks so much, Wendy. Big shout out to you. And TMFA, I will see you next Tuesday. I think I'm going to do another Q&A, and I may bring a friend. Who knows? It's up in the air. I like having friends now. I like having friends along with me. Adam, this is great. Thank you for coming again. So TMFA, thank you. We'll see you next Tuesday. Adam, it's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Chris.
So keep an eye out for Adam, you guys. He'll be back maybe in a few weeks, and we'll finish this conversation. All right, everybody. Have a great day. Stay hydrated. Stay safe. Get outside. Breathe some fresh air. Feel the sunlight on your face. It's good for us all. And we'll see you around. Bye, everybody.